Now, what did Rabbi say? The issue is that a person is upset that has machshavas zaros. The last paydik, a fellow says to Malton Rebbe, I'm upset to have machshavas zaros. The Rebbe says, grow up, don't be a balgaiva, and stop deluding yourself into thinking you're some big hotshot tzaddik. You're not. You're a simple beinani with a yetzer hara, and that's how a beinani is, right? This whole Matthias is bouncing up and down like a pinball, like a bouncing ball. Machshava Zara, Machshava Teva, and so forth and so on. So the Alter Rebbe is saying to this Beinani in the last page, stop being a Malgai. But there's an exception to this rule. The exception to this rule is when a person davens and learns. Like the story with the Rebbe, who made the mistake of saying he's a Beinani. The Alter Rebbe makes a promise in Perek Yud Beis, chapter 12, that when you daven, the combination of the Hisaydidus plus the Eis Rotzen, the Sh'as HaKesher, just give me the hat. Okay, I'll give me the hat. The combination, now put your sefer down to be comfortable. The combination of the Hisaydidus, when you daven you're inspired, which is called a melech, plus the idea of Sh'as HaKesher, that's an appropriate time, the combination of these two factors can put the Yetzer Hara to sleep temporarily. When a Beinani davens, he's a melech, not a moshel. While a Beinani davens, his Yetzer Hara is asleep. Here comes a Beinani, he says, Rebbe, you told me in Perek Yud Beis that when my daven, my Yetzer Hara, go to sleep. My Yetzer Hara is never more alive, never more haunting, never more invasive, never more of a problem than when I'm davening. In other words, you promised me that when I'm going to daven, my Yetzer Hara is going to go to sleep. Not happening. Perek Av Ches. Even if it enters into the Beinani's thought processes. Thoughts of taiva. Is another negative thoughts. While he's busy davening or learning and davening with the correct kavanah. And his Tanya is, you Tanya to me that I'm going to experience Rabbiism, right? The Rabbi thought he was a Beinani. That was a lie, he was a tzaddik. But why do you think he's a Beinani? Because he's learned in Torah all day and all night, like Pasapum and Megisim. So he says, maybe I'm a Beinani, I'm a Spal Kol Hayom. A Beinani davens all day long, he has a Yetzer Hara, but Yetzer Hara sleeps because he never gets a chance to wake up. Here's a fellow who's in the middle of davening. He says, Rebbe, my Yetzer Hara is driving me insane. You said that when I daven, Yetzer Hara sleeps. He's so vengeful. He's so furious. He's so intense. He's so in my face. Something is wrong. The program is not working out. Never then, I'm in the middle of davening, and Yetzer Hara is harassing me. So he gives you two options. The first option almost sounds silly, but the Alter Rebbe brings it in because it's not silly. If I have machshavas zaros during davening, there's two choices. Can't be a Beinani. Why not? A Beinani, Sh'as HaKesher, davening b'kavanah, Yetzer Hara sleeps. If I can't be a Beinani because I have bad thoughts in the middle of davening, I have two options left. Number one, maybe I'm a tzaddik. I agree. Number two, maybe I'm a Rosh. If I'm a Rosh, if I'm a Rosh, until I do tshuva, there's a barrier between me and the Eibishter, and so long as there's a barrier between me and the Eibishter, I can't put my Yetzer Hara to sleep. But maybe I'm a tzaddik. Now, why would a person have machshavas zaros inside as a tzaddik? I'll tell you. Because it says in Kabbalah, it's going to be mentioned here, that the Eibishter gives tzaddikim machshavas zaros. But when a tzaddik gets a machshavas zaros, he knows it's not his, because he has no Yetzer Hara. So tzaddik strokes his beard and says, I have machshavas zaros, and they're not mine because I'm a tzaddik. Why did the Eibishter give them to me? So I should be mavared them. Tzaddikim are giving me this machshavas zaros from other people to do a concept called in Kabbalah ha'aloas ha'midos shel ha'machshavas zaros, to lift up the passion of the negative thoughts. The negative thoughts are bad. The feelings of the negative thoughts are neutral. You can use those same feelings for Aveda. Tzaddikim get other people's machshavas zaros to lift them up. So the guy comes to the Alter Rebbe and says, Rebbe, I have machshavas zaros in the middle of davening. He must be a tzaddik. I'm getting other people's machshavas zaros. Like the Alter Rebbe is eigentlich kishoyte. So here he goes. Al yashis leiv alein. Don't think about these bad thoughts. El yasiach daitim hen legame. If bad thoughts, Yetzer Hara is bothering you in the middle of davening. Faket. He's bothering you during davening. The rest of the day, fight. And he says, number one, v'gam al yishayte. Don't be a fool. To involve yourself in uplifting the emotions of the bad thought, right? The bad thought is a thought of Aveda. The feelings of the bad thought is a desire, is a passion for that Aveda. If you could separate the thought from the passion can be redirected. You can use that passion for the Eibishter too. So tzaddikim are oisik in halos habidus. The good part of the machshavas zaros is the emotion. The bad part of the machshavas zaros is called the tzura, the actual picture of the ra. That has to be thrown away. But the midah can be uplifted. The Alter Rebbe, you ain't no tzaddik. Don't try to fix machshavas zaros, because you'll end up with your nose in this concrete. Keneda, as this concept is known. The idea of uplifting the midas of machshavas zaros is a business for tzaddikim alone. Why? Because tzaddikim don't get their own machshavas zaros because they simply do not have a yetzer hara ki mishalachin from other people. So tzaddikim, and especially tzaddikim gemurim, are mevared in midas of machshavas zaros because it's totally dispersonal. It's called a reimamus. It's called kach. It's ktas. They have no shaychus. Avomish and evil mishalei. Person has his own machshavas zaros. Mebechinas hara shebelibei his own yetzer hara shebechol left small in left side of the heart. V'gdal terebe ich yaleu lamayla. How do you expect to lift it up lamayla? V'uatz meikosher lamata. At the licksten schmutz, you're laying in filth. How do you expect to lift it up? I gotta tell you Mendel's word. The Mendel Futavas is a classic word. A bird is laying in the snow and he's freezing to death. Along comes a dog and does what it has to do and warms up the bird, and the bird is refreshed. So the bird starts to sing. Along comes a cat, plucks it right out of the schmutz and eats it up. So says Mendel, Shmami not last. There's 3 heroes. Not everybody who makes on top of you hates you. And not everybody who pulls you out of the schmutz loves you. And if you're laying in schmutz, what are you thinking for? How can you fix something that you're in the middle of filth and schmutz? So the Alter Rebbe says, number one, if a person gets machshavas zaros and davening, you're right, Tanya, that I said in Perikut Beis you told her to go to bed. But you ain't no tzaddik, and don't involve yourself in the loss of midas machshavas tzaddik. On the other hand, like the Alter Rebbe, you're not a Rasha either. You're talking out at tzaddik, but don't say that therefore I'm a Rasha. Afa Pekin, on the other hand, al yipalibi bekirbe. Don't fall your heart and say, I must be a Rasha, I did not wait, I forgot it. Liyas mizeh atzav nivzeh, to be depressed and shamed in your own eyes. B'shas avodah while you're davening. Shetzarach liyas b'simcha rab, with great joy. When you're in the middle of davening and the yetzer hara comes along with a vengeance, that's not a sign that your davening is not real. To the contrary, it's a sign that your davening is real. You know what the proof is? Yetzer hara doesn't want you to daven. He's trying extra hard. You know why? Because your davening is good. To the contrary, what do you do to a yetzer hara who comes on the strongest when you're davening and doesn't just roll over and go to sleep like it was implicit in Tanya chapter 12? The 8 says, Yischazik Yossi, you strengthen yourself more. V'yesef Emet, you add intensity. B'cholkeich, with all of your power. B'kavana satfil, the kavana of davening. B'chedva, with gladness. V'simcha yeseda, and extra joy. B'suma yalibi, he tells himself as follows. As they say, one way or another, the entering of the bad thought into my head, he may klipa, comes from klipa. Shabachol asmali, which is in the left ventricle of the heart. Which is fighting a war with a benyanim nefesh alikis shabay, with the godly soul which the benyanim has. Says the Alter Rebbe, v'neida derech hanilchamim. We know the way of warriors, v'chein ha'avakim, and the way of wrestlers, yachad, when people are engaged in one another. That when one tries extra hard, the other one exerts himself also to strengthen himself. With all your power. And therefore, dafka, when you go to daven, the misametzes or miskaberes lispalo exerts itself and strengthens itself to daven. So dafka then gama klipa misgaberes kenegda. Klipa strengthens itself opposite it, levalbala, to confuse it, ulapila, and to throw it down, machshavas towards evil thoughts. In other words, as Alter Rebbe, when I said in Perikut Beis that when you daven, yetzer hara goes to sleep, I don't mean he rolls over and plays dead. When you daven, you're fighting harder, he fights harder. But you could win him temporarily. If you're davening and your machshavas are haunting you, it's a compliment. The yetzer hara doesn't want you to daven. He sees the value and the effectiveness and the credibility of davening. And your job, fight harder. You could put him to sleep. But if you don't, that doesn't make you a Rasha. And don't try to be mevada the midas machshavas zaros. That's what he really wants. Because then he'll have you exactly where he wants you. And he'll bring you right into the sewer.